Alright, here we are on the beautiful old Daybreak. My co-caster last week is in love with this map. My co-caster this week wants to have it retired. Should have been retired. My caster shouldn't have been retired. According to my caster, this map should have been retired a year ago. Of course, I would hate to see Zoya retired a year ago, because then I would be here on my own right now, and solo casting's never a lot of fun. What is a lot of fun is duo casting this game with Zoya, and the game's gonna be played between, in the top right spawn position, playing as the green Zerg player, playing for Team Dignitas. Not that long for Team Dignitas yet, but it is Tefel. And on the other side of the map, we've got a Protoss player that we all know and love, question mark. Not too sure. There's a lot of different opinions on Naniwa. Some seem to hate, some seem to love him, some seem to hate him. He's really a lot of different opinions about this guy. In the bottom left, playing in blue, playing as Protoss, it's Naniwa.
Yep, recently picked up by Team Alliance. EUEG is what some people like to say it, and being all the same sponsors as Evil Geniuses, just under a different name. Hope to see where Alliance ends up going. Only one Starcraft player on their squad so far, and since he's joined Alliance, you know, it's not like he's played too bad. Yes, his Premier League results weren't the best, but he got second place at DreamHack. He's still a very powerful player. I don't know. We'll just have to see where Naniwa, you know, or what, Alliance is going to do in the future. But we see a standard pull timing here from Tefel. Looks like we're going to be seeing a Nexus first here from Naniwa, which is pretty standard on Daybreak.
Yeah, it is. Nothing out of the ordinary so far in the early game. It is worth noting that Naniwa is going for actually a really greedy build. Did he even scout? No, he didn't. So he went for a blind Nexus first, which is always a risky thing to do. He's still not scouting, so if he would have been getting 6-pulled, he might have been in some trouble. He does have the pylon and the forge in his main base, so that would have helped his defense, but it definitely would not have been easy. He's going to be scouting out right now to see what Tefel is up to. Will Tefel take an early third base in this game? No. Looks like he's going to be taking a gas again.
Yeah, speed of the expanse is pretty normal. You make a good point that he put the forge and the pylon in the main base. If you're going to do a blind Nexus first, I think this is the best way to open. You get to save that forge a little bit easier. You get the cannon in the main base much quicker. You don't have to throw on an extra pylon. And overall, it's better to have the forge in the main base, because if there's aggression at your natural wall, you risk losing that forge and delaying upgrades. So if you don't take any early damage, you get to save that forge. It's just overall better to have it in the main base. But it's mainly like a stylistic thing, or you know, just being as safe as possible. So I like what Naniwa's done so far.
Yeah, it's just a style thing indeed. A lot of Protoss players still like to go for the forge on the low ground on this map, because that's what they've done for the entirety of Wings of Liberty, or at least most of them have done that. But Naniwa incorporating his new style of play by getting his forge in the main base and playing things a little bit differently. He's going to be getting his Cyber Core right now, as we see an Overlord out of Dignitas. Tefel is getting in position near the main base and near the natural. We'll be keeping an eye out on when those gases get taken to have an indication of what can I expect.
Naniwa does have this probe hidden out on the map. Going to be able to throw down proxy pylons or scout that third base. Always important to keep a probe out on the map. Scouting the third base is always an important thing to do. You know, if you go in for the scout, you don't see a third base, then you know that some either Roachling all-ins coming your way or really fast tech. So good call on Naniwa. He's got his +1 weapons on the way. Chrono boosting his Nexus, getting out as many probes as he can. Cybernex core just now finishing. We'll have to see when he wants to start that mothership core. And yeah, just really standard play from Naniwa. We'll have to see what tech he wants to get, where he you know, what kind of build he's going to follow up here. I mean, PvZ, when you do this kind of opener, is the same even in Heart of the Swarm, on the Protoss end at least. Until you see the tech, you don't have a clue as what's going on.
You're right. It's difficult to scout still for the Zerg in general. Naniwa has been able to scout the third base of Tefel right now. His probe has been spotted though, so Tefel is aware that there's still a probe out on the map that could be dropping proxy pylon. So we should see a few Zerglings come out of Tefel soon to kind of chase that down. And did Tefel really not make a single Zergling? No, he didn't. He's not made a single Zergling up until the 7-minute mark. There he goes, just now starting his first 2. Wow, that's late.
Yeah, and we're going to be seeing a quick 4-gate. Oh, nice job on this Overlord as Tefel Going to scout the probe out on the map for of Naniwa. Now, Naniwa did confirm the third base was being built. Going to get a pylon down. We're seeing quick 4-gate aggression from Naniwa. He's chrono boosting out of Cybernetics Core. It's going to have +1, so it's going to be a +1 Zealot timing attack on this third base. There's still no Roach Warren just yet. Stalker and Zealot coming forward at this third base, going to target fire on that Queen. Drone's getting a full surround here, and nice job from Naniwa, taking his target fire to these drones. He's gotten 3 so far, or 2 so far, actually, yeah, 3 so far, and he's going to be able to get this Stalker back home. Speed just now being started, Roach Warren on the way as well as that lair, but Proxy Pylon is done, and the 4 warp gates warping in.
I think Tefel has made a few too many drones. We saw as that probe was constructing the proxy pylon, he made another 10 drones, and he's just now started another 6. And these zealots are no ordinary zealots. They are super strong because they've got +1 attack. And this proxy pylon is so close to the third base. The Roach Warren is not yet done. Will these roaches get here in time to be able to save the third? I think we might see a bit of a repeat of the last game where Tefel might be losing his third base.
Oh, nice job from Tefel. Oh no, he was going to get the proxy pylon, but decided to go for the Zealots instead. The Queen is so low in HP, 4 more Zealots being warped in. 13 roaches on the way. Now the hatchery hasn't taken any damage yet, but there has been some economic losses. Zealots coming forward here. Queen kiting back as far as it can, but the Stalker going to be able to shoot that down. With the roaches here, he's going to be able to hold, but I mean, was the damage enough? If you take a look at that Harvester's kill tab, only 10 drones have been killed. The third base still stands.
Oh, he's going to warp in another round of 4 zealots. That's a bit of a questionable move. Tefel's been making so many roaches. These 4 extra zealots are not going to achieve anything here for the Alliance Naniwa. And Tefel's defense has been immaculate. Well, not immaculate. He did lose quite some workers. 12 workers killed by Naniwa, but he definitely hoped to do more damage. The worker count has now been equalized. The big difference between last game is that third base is still left alive. And Tefel will be able to replenish his drone count back to 60 in just half a minute.
Well, you do see that Naniwa's warp against more Zealots and Sentries to defend. Force fields try and hold off this Roach counterattack. They do not have speed just yet. The interesting thing is, Naniwa is going for double Stargate. He's got 2 Void Rays rallied out, so even if the Roaches do break through the wall, get past the cannon, these Void Rays will be able to clean them up. And here we go. Void Rays going to be shown to these Roaches. Perfect timing on them for the defense of this attack, and Tefel's going to just back off and go home. Nice decision making on both players' ends.
Yeah, Tefel seeing those 2 Void Rays, he's like, oh, well, that's not the standard follow-up, I better go back home. The Void Rays have used their prismatic alignment, and they're killing a lot of roaches here, actually. 2 kills on the one Void Ray and 2 kills on the other, and all the other roaches have been softened up a great deal, and many more will be dying before they get back home.
This is sick control from Naniwa. Look how he's microing these Void Rays, keeping them at even pace with these roaches, killing off more than any normal Protoss player could have done. 4 kills on one, and he got 9 kills so far on these 2 Void Rays, just chasing roaches across the map.
I think you're giving Naniwa a little bit too much credit. You know, the Void Rays have had some changes in Heart of the Swarm, so if you just A-move them, they are a lot better at firing at a constant target than they used to be. I don't think he microed that at all. Or at least not so much.
He was targeting them a lot. I could be completely wrong though. It looked like he was marking them. And Naniwa looking all fancy and stuff. Maybe you're right. I don't play Protoss. I'm a Zerg and Terran player personally, so maybe I just did make an ass.
Mostly Zerg, aren't you?
Mostly Zerg, yeah. Zerg's my main race.
See some Phoenix in the main base trying to do some damage. They've killed 1 or 2 Hydras, but the Phoenix was lost in the process. That was it's so cool to see Protoss players always make a squad of like 4, 5, 6 Phoenix. You rarely see them go much higher unless the Zerg player does commit to mutas. And these Phoenix are gonna allow Naniwa to do so much damage if Tefel decides to move out for a push, because they can just fly back in the main base, kill off an Overlord, pick up that Queen if they really want to. But the Hydras are going to be forced back into the main base. I love Phoenix play. I don't have the micro to properly control them, but it's so extremely good.
Yeah, Phoenix are pretty sick, man. They're my favorite opener when I play Protoss. You just get so much map control, and if you control properly, they're just a lot of fun. And anyways, he's done a complete transition into Colossus play. He's actually going to lose a lot of his Phoenix. He did show that he got +1 for these Phoenixes, but he's completely transitioned away from the Stargate. Those are going to be useful later in case a Void or a Mulus transition comes, but oh man, I don't know if Naniwa can hold this third base. Where is his army? He's got 1 Colossus, the second one about to finish, but Thermal Lance is only 3/4 of the way done.
Yeah, no photon overcharge yet either. The Nexus is done, but the Mothership Core was constructed quite late and doesn't have enough energy for that photon overcharge yet. The gateways are buying Naniwa some time. He's trying to buy time for his photon overcharge. He's trying to buy time for another Colossus to arrive because it has popped out of the Robo. The fight is going to happen. The force speeds go down. The Hydras are actually in the front, taking a lot of fire from the Void Ray, and the Colossus in the back. The photon overcharge has not been used. Instead, a time warp went down.
105 supply to 180. Void Rays using that prismatic alignment, but they're target fire down Hydras, and that only helps against armored units. Hydras aren't armored, so not doing any extra DPS there. Colossus being pinned back into a corner, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw GG right here. Naniwa is on the verge of defeat and gonna lose this third base.